Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav and you're watching Indian Weekend Desk. As you know, we are less than 50 days away from the election. This is the segment that we have introduced where we would like you to know your own candidates. And in this episode, we have from East Auckland representing Labour Party, Botany, Kharag Singh. Thank you very much, Kharag Singh ji, for coming over to this show. I really appreciate it. First of all, मेरे को तो आपकी लाइफ के बारे में थोड़ा बहुत पता है, बट मैं अपने ऑडियंस के लिए चाहता हूँ कि आप उन्हें बताएं कि आपकी जर्नी 1987 में यहाँ पर आने के बाद से अभी तक कैसी रही?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Gaurav, for having me here at Indian Weekender, giving me the opportunity to introduce or talk about myself a little bit more to the audience as our community out there. As you mentioned, 1987, I arrived here in August, just like any migrant 24-year-old youngster looking for a bright future. So that was the landing in 87. From there on, just like every migrant which goes through the struggle, I'm no different. I went through the same. Worked in the printing ink company, manufacturing of printing inks and graphics. So I worked there 7 days a week, overtime. Then slowly, my education, as you know, I was a graduate in public administration and economics back home from DAV College.
Absolutely, from DAV College, Chandigarh, जहाँ से आपने अपनी डिग्री भी करी थी.
जी, मैंने वहाँ से डिग्री की. तो फिर उसके बाद मैं लॉ कर रहा था पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी में. So बट वो मेरी फाइनल ईयर में सेमेस्टर में पूरा नहीं हो सका बिकॉज वो ट्रबल टाइम शुरू हो गया पंजाब में.
राइट. सो इमरजेंसी जब लग गई थी जिसकी वजह से आप अपनी एजुकेशन कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाए.
जी, टोटली, दैट्स इट, दैट्स द फैक्ट. सो फिर हमें अपना नेचुरली यंगस्टर्स फिर हम न्यूजीलैंड में पहुंच गए, लैंड ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी. सो देयर द लाइफ टुक अ डिफरेंट टर्न. देन also mindset changed that we have to make this home and become successful. Then in the printing game, I worked there till 95 and I became the customer service manager in the same firm. I used to manage 20 staff under me. So we were the number 3 largest ink manufacturing in the world in those days. We used to call Sydney Cook Chemicals, later on became SICPA New Zealand Limited in East Tamaki, where I'm standing now.
Right. And उसी दौरान आपने अपनी एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जर्नी भी शुरू करी, अपना फर्स्ट सुपरमार्केट लेके फोर्थ स्क्वायर.
जी, फिर अपॉर्चुनिटी आई विथ मेरी शादी हो गई, बच्चे हो गए. एंड देन ऑब्वियसली यू नो, सो यू कीप ऑन ग्रोइंग जस्ट लाइक एवरीवन एल्स डज. एंड यू नो, माइंडसेट तो होता ही अपना, इंडियंस का सबका भी. वी नीड टू बी मेक श्योर वी आर इन बिजनेस. देन आई परचेस्ड, in those days it was independent store in Manukau Heights area on Everglade Drive. Later became Everglade Foursquare. So I've been in the operator for last 27 years in the same place. From there on, during that time, काम बहुत किया, 7 days a week मेहनत किया जैसे हम लोग करते हैं. Then obviously लक भी होता है, बिजनेस तो सब करते हैं, उसमें ऊपर वाला भी साथ देता आपका. फिर उसके साथ साथ भगवान ने बाजू पकड़ी, हमें सक्सेस दी. उसके साथ साथ मेरे पास वो जो पिछला, जैसे आपको पता, मेरा प्रेसिडेंट था DAV कॉलेज चंडीगढ़ का यंग डेज में. तो मेरे दिल में कभी कभी ऐसा रहता था कि पॉलिटिकली हमें अपनी कम्युनिटी, मेरे को लगता है कि वी नीड मोर पीपल इन पॉलिटिक्स. तो वहाँ से फिर मैंने अपनी सेवा, जैसे आपको मालूम है, you know, people, I worked a lot of social work in our community, and वो आप सबको मालूम है. Then I became Justice of Peace. फिर मैंने अपनी charity शुरू की. Then I worked for Rotary as well, member of Papatoy Rotary Club at the same time. फिर मैंने अपनी political journey में, आपको मालूम होगा, I think the first time for a long time कोई खड़ा नहीं होता था इलेक्शन में. मैंने लोकल इलेक्शन में, I think 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I don't exactly remember, 2 terms before, तो मैंने बॉटनी में लोकल बॉडीज इलेक्शन में अपनी लेबर पार्टी से कैंडिडेसी भरी थी।
What was the need of it? मतलब वो आपको ये ख्याल कैसे आया कि that you would want to go into politics even from the local stand of point of view?
मेरे को लगता था कोई फाइट ही नहीं करता अपनी इंडियन कम्युनिटी में, वी आर वेरी बिहाइंड। जब दिखता था मैं दूसरी कम्युनिटीज़ के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बहुत हैं। अब देखो अभी भी आज अभी भी सर्च मारना आप और लोकल काउंसिल में 21 काउंसलर है ऑकलैंड सिटी में, एक मेयर है, तो काउंसलर्स में आपको मेरे को लगता है कोई भी नहीं मिलेगा। आई डोंट थिंक सो देयर इज एनी काउंसलर, डोंट गिव मी ऑन दिस फैक्ट because I think 21 councillors are there and local board members are there. I think there are very minimal number of Indian descent there, and not maybe one, maybe two. एला कुमार जी हैं मेरे को ये मालूम है, और एक शायद और भी है इधर वेस्ट में, बट आई कुड बी नॉट 100% ऑन द फैक्ट। बट उसमें मुझे ये लगता था कि भी वेयर यू लिव, न्यूजीलैंड काउंसिल, लोकल काउंसिल, ऑकलैंड काउंसिल, वहाँ अपनी कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है। Nobody is making decisions for us. We don't have no voice on the table where the decisions are made. So मेरे को ये लगा कि let's start from the ground level. तो फिर मैंने वहाँ अपनी कैंडिडेसी भरी, और उसके बाद फिर मैं अनसक्सेसफुल रहा, बट मुझे आई थिंक अबाउट 1900 वोट्स के करीब मिला फर्स्ट टाइम इन अ टफ एरिया। उस समय भी मुझे ये बोल रहे थे कि खड़ग जी आपने टफ एरिया क्यों चूज़ किया।
तो उस टाइम आप किसके अगेंस्ट खड़े थे?
वो लोकल बॉडी होती है, जैसे उसमें तो 8 कैंडिडेट्स होती हैं, बॉटनी में 3 थे, क्योंकि लोकल बोर्ड में 8 कैंडिडेट 6 हैं आई थिंक, और 2 काउंसलर हैं, उसमें से बॉटनी को 3 एलोकेट होते हैं। तो हम उनके आई थिंक दैट वाज CNR और सम अदर ऑल्सो बॉडीज ऑफ अदर पीपल, बट दे आर सम अदर पार्टी एफिलिएशंस। वी आर द ओनली पार्टी हु फाइट्स अंडर द पार्टी बैनर इन लोकल इलेक्शंस इन बॉटनी एरियाज।
राइट।
तो उसके बाद फिर मेरे को अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली वहाँ से, फिर टेरिटरी काब हो गई, स्टैट्स आया जब, टकनीनी नई इलेक्ट्रेट बन गई उस समय। तो जो मेरा घर है मैं रीड आउट रोड पे रहता हूँ, तो वो टकनीनी इलेक्ट्रेट में चले गया। तो वहाँ से फिर डॉक्टर नीरू लेवसा, लास्ट इलेक्शंस में मैं उसका को कैंपेन मैनेजर था, तो देन वी वॉन दैट सीट। इट वॉज एन एग्रल सीट, डॉक्टर लेवसा, नीरू लेवसा, सो वी वॉन द सीट, लेबर वॉन दैट सीट। तो उससे फिर मेरे को पॉलिटिकल एस्पिरेशन अंदर और जागने लगी कि भी अपनी भी कम्युनिटी में यार अपने लीडर ज़्यादा होने चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं देखता हूँ पैसिफिक कम्युनिटी की बहुत रिप्रेजेंटेशन है पार्लियामेंट में। देयर आर 11 MPs और 5 मिनिस्टर्स, एंड Maori community does have their representation. Indian community misses out on the number of community which we have according to the population. We don't have as much representation as we would like. तो उसमें फिर मेरे को दिल में मेरे चलता रहता था कुछ ना कुछ कि we need to make sure we are on the board, or we need to get into the parliament somehow. So उसमें फिर मैंने काम किया, मेहनत किया, लेबर पार्टी के लिए बहुत मेहनत किया। Then also my biggest drive was when I was stuck in COVID in India. So with my dad, when I took him, not many people raised their hand to help us out that time. So then...
So you got stuck back in India during COVID time?
Yes. So I was stuck for 4 months there. So then obviously I was 100% sure that I am gonna be into the politics and make sure that our voice is heard. When we have issues in the community, we have a great voice, but we don't have representation. And the representation which we have, we need more numbers. That's what I great believe in. And with due respect to whoever has served in the past or who are serving now, I respect them totally. And they are my honorable parliamentarians or ministers. But same token, I believe we need more people. And then, like you will be surprised to know, in Labour Party history, I'm the first Punjabi Sikh migrant that they have opened the door to. So I am honored.
And they have opened the door. I think ये अभी तक का सबसे important और सबसे जो एक important question हम मेरे लिए भी है और आपके लिए भी है कि that you are standing against national parties, Christopher Luxon in the same area.
जी.
अगर नेशनल पार्टी जीती तो क्रिस्टोफर लक्सन विल बी द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ न्यूजीलैंड. व्हाट डू यू थिंक और व्हाट डू यू फील अबाउट स्टैंडिंग इन द सेम प्लेस वेयर ही इज फाइटिंग द इलेक्शन फ्रॉम?
To be honest with you, when the opportunity came, I was full of adrenaline, fighting spirit. Yes, it's okay. No problem. It is a tough battle. It is a tough fight, but I love to fight the tough battle, which will prove to our community that I had the courage to go out there and not scared of who I was fighting against. Make sure I take him on head on. But in the same token, with due respect, we will run a positive campaign, which we are running right now. And obviously, I don't think about anybody who is my opposition is. I am going out there to make sure I do the best I can with what I have. If it's a uphill battle, then I have to drive in 4x4. If I come on 14th of August, mandate of the people, whatever it will be, we will respect that. So that is what I am going there for.
Right. See, मैं अपनी ऑडियंस के लिए और अपने लिए खुद के लिए भी समझना चाहता हूँ कि एक कैंडिडेट की डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज़ क्या होती हैं, लाइक रन अस थ्रू योर डे, कि आपका सुबह से लेके शाम कैसे निकलता है.
Yeah, sure. In politics, in New Zealand especially, the biggest challenge you get is to gain the volunteers. That's the biggest challenge, because everybody from Monday to Friday, their lives are so committed. They're working, they're school, or, hard to get the volunteers. But then I am fortunate that with my 36 or 37 years in this country, with my social work and blessings, people know me very well. So obviously, people support, business community comes in, they can spare some time during the day. You ask me my activities. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, first thing. Then I go through the reading of all the policies whichever we can. As you probably will appreciate, right? We have just first-time candidates. We don't have any member parliament experience. So a lot of reporters or journalists like you ask us tough questions. But then that's your duty to ask the tough questions. But we don't have the experience, or we haven't studied any policies before when we got selected, so last 2 months. So how are we going to answer your questions? So only way we're going to answer your question is to read the policies, make sure what the homework we get sent on, make sure we read it. We cannot be 100%, obviously, but we have to make sure you ask me the question. I am ready to answer that within whatever knowledge I have. There are debates out there. Like last Saturday, we had a Howick and Drake Pierce debate. So I went there. So I think people were quite, feedback was I was very honest with my answers. So honesty is also one of those things. When you don't have an answer for some question, you just say, you get back to it. We are not sure, because we will read more on it. So this is how the day starts. So you read, you prepare yourself. And then later on, then we get ready, then we hit the road. Basically, then we, last few weeks, door knocking was for make sure, because I was working in Takanini before, now Botany I have to restart again, because 3 years I wasn't there. So then you door knock, make sure you have the place for your signs. Fences were given, so so you don't know.
So you seek permissions for your signs to be posted.
Yes.
Or placed.
Yes. So we must take a permission from the landlord, not from the tenants or anybody else. We must take the permission from the landlord of the property before any sign goes on the private property.
And if it's a public property, let's say, for example, a park?
No, you can't. So council gives you dedicated sites. So it could be 3 sites, it could be 5 sites, it could be 10 sites. Those are council's sites for public. So every party is entitled to put their sign or boarding up there. But then those are very no more than 10, sometimes in a bigger electorate. In mine, there were only 3 or maybe 4, the max. So imagine Botany runs from all the way from Manukau Heights Boundary Road right up to Cockle Bay, and 3 signs not going to do the justice.
No, not at all.
So then obviously you make sure you work hard. But then I am blessed, like I told you before, in community, when you send a message to someone. I think the fantastic story I can share with you right now, Bagubai, I will name the person. Bagubai Patel used to run a store in Gilbert Road, in Otara, sorry, not Gilbert Road, Johnson Road. And so he rang me from Gujarat on a messenger. He says, I live on 38 Middleton Drive, make sure you put your sign there. So I was, wow. I said, so that's the love I get from my community. So that's one of the highlights of this campaign. And I think I will share the story with everyone. So that is the love between Gujarati community and the Punjabi community and our wider community, Asian community. There are Chinese people who have offered me fences, you name it. I gone through 70 signs and hoardings in Botany area where you say the fight is tough. So it's red. So now hopefully we will turn on 14. We will have a hopefully a result in red. So that's about it.
Right. Okay, one last question that I wanted to ask, that you said that you read about all the policies. So if I pull up the manifesto from the Labour Party for this election, which particular policy it can be anything, for cost of living, it can be taxation, it can be child policy, it can be education, it can be co-governance, or it can be the cost of living policy that had been released just a couple of days ago. Which policy is the one that resonates most with you? I mean,
my community, I'm a retailer from background, so crime is right on top of my list.
Right.
So that is me. And like I said, I have been inside the party lines. I've been raising our concerns, addressing the issue. As you can see, our police minister, Ginny Anderson, and our government has a lot of stuff which we got done. So more to do. We acknowledge, prevention, accountability. The now new justice laws for the 12 to 14-year-olds kids are coming through. So there's a lot of stuff. But then I also believe in sometimes we need our voice on the table there. So this is where we will contribute as a retailer. My experience, you think the crime didn't happen in 95? You think the crime didn't happen in 9 years of opposition leader? I can tell you, I can write a book on it. Crime happened 360 degrees. Not only the ram raids, they came through the roof as well. So we've been through that. So what I'm trying to say is also messages, we got to protect our own businesses. We have the responsibility to make sure we make it tougher. I was listening to one of the news yesterday. There were sensors which are making noise now, which are being put outside in the building areas or in rebel sports. So that deters. So, you got to protect your business, your livelihood, same as your home. So which we are concerned about. And as well, so that is that's very close to my heart.
Crime would be something that mostly resonates with you. Right, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Kharag Singh ji. This is all that we had for this segment. And I truly appreciate, I can't express more gratitude and thankfulness that you came to our show and expressed your story, because this was a very wonderful story for all my listeners and all for my audience to know that a guy from Chandigarh, from a DAV school, Chandigarh, came all the way to New Zealand and started his own journey, started as an immigrant just like you and me. And after 37 years, he's fighting for our own rights, but this time in the political campaign. You're watching Indian Weekender. I'll see you soon.